Well, folks, it looks like we narrowly avoided a full-blown trade war with our neighbors to the north. Just a day before hefty tariffs were set to kick in, President Trump and Prime Minister Trudeau struck a last-minute deal. The deal involves Canada stepping up its border security in a major way. In exchange, Trump agreed to hit the pause button on those tariffs. For now, at least, this all went down after a tense phone call between the two leaders. Trump had been threatening to slap a 25% tariff on a whole bunch of Canadian goods. We're talking everything from maple syrup to car parts. The Canadians were not thrilled about this, to put it mildly. Some provinces even threatened to retaliate by pulling American booze off their shelves. But hey, cooler heads prevailed, right? The deal itself is pretty straightforward. Canada's going to pour a bunch of money into beefing up its border security. Think more Border Patrol agents, fancy new surveillance tech, the whole 9 yards. They're also creating a fentanyl czar position to tackle the opioid crisis. This whole thing really highlights the delicate dance these two countries have to do. They're close allies, sure, but they also have their differences, and when it comes to trade, things can get real heated real fast. So, what exactly did Canada sign up for? Well, they're putting their money where their mouth is, to the tune of $1.3 billion. That's a lot of loonies. This cash injection is going towards a whole suite of border security measures. First up, they're deploying nearly 10,000 personnel to the border. That's a lot of new boots on the ground. And they're not just sending warm bodies. These folks are going to be equipped with the latest and greatest tech, including helicopters and other surveillance equipment. But wait, there's more. Canada's also going after those pesky drug cartels. They're planning to label them as terrorist organizations, which gives them more power to crack down on their operations. And to make sure the border is locked down tight, they're implementing 24/7 surveillance. Finally, they're throwing in $200 million for a new intelligence initiative. This is all about sharing information and coordinating efforts with the U.S. to combat organized crime, fentanyl trafficking, and money laundering. It's a whole package deal, folks. Now, let's talk about Trump's side of things. Why the sudden urge to play tariff roulette with Canada? Well, according to the Donald, it all boils down to border security. He's been claiming that Canada hasn't been doing its part to stop the flow of illegal immigrants and drugs, especially fentanyl, into the U.S. He's also been throwing around some figures about how much the U.S. supposedly subsidizes Canada each year. He claims it's a whopping $200 million, but those numbers have been disputed by, well, everyone. This whole tariff threat wasn't just about Canada, though. Trump's been using this tactic as a bargaining chip in trade negotiations with a bunch of countries. Mexico, China, you name it. He's probably threatened to slap tariffs on them at some point. It's all part of his America First agenda, where he tries to renegotiate trade deals that he sees as unfair to the U.S. Whether it's effective or not is a whole other story. So, what does this whole Canada tariff saga mean for the future of U.S.-Canada relations? Well, it's definitely put a strain on things, that's for sure. The Canadians aren't exactly thrilled about being strong-armed into spending billions on border security. But hey, at least they avoided a trade war, right? For now, anyway. The big question is whether this deal will actually stick. Trump's known for changing his mind on a dime, so there's always a chance he could decide to slap those tariffs back on if he doesn't feel like Canada's holding up their end of the bargain. And then there's the whole issue of global trade. Trump's aggressive tactics have ruffled a lot of feathers on the international stage. Some experts worry that his actions could spark a global trade war, which would be bad news for everyone involved. So yeah, the situation is still pretty fluid. Only time will tell how this whole thing plays out in the long run. Stay tuned, folks. It's going to be a bumpy ride.